Joining me now is one of the co-sponsors of the Fire Fauci Act, Congressman Buddy Carter of the great state of Georgia. Congressman, welcome. It's great to see you.
Good to see you.
So Fauci made this claim in the interview with Politico. He said, quote, "They're going to try and come after me anyway. I mean, probably less so if I'm not in the job. I don't make that a consideration in my career decision." It sounds exactly to me, Congressman, like that is part of his decision. If the GOP wins the House, what's life going to be like for Dr. Fauci?
Well, I can assure you, for whatever reason he is leaving is good news. And the only thing I have to say to Dr. Fauci is good riddance. The only thing better that could possibly be better than him retiring is if he were fired, because he needs to be fired. And that's why I sponsored the Fire Fauci Act, is because, he's flip-flopped all the time. As you pointed out repeatedly here in this segment, he has flip-flopped on COVID. During this pandemic, he's flip-flopped on it. And he's also lied to Congress about the origin of the virus. He's lied to us about gain-of-function research. That has been a lie. And let me tell you, gain-of-function research is dangerous. Einstein said the only thing more dangerous than ignorance is arrogance. And gain-of-function research is nothing more than intellectual arrogance. It should not be going on. So I'm glad to see that he's going. I'm ecstatic to see that he's going.
Congressman, I think a lot of Americans are wondering what does accountability look like for Dr. Fauci? I mean, whether it's talking about the origin of the virus or the fact that Americans were under lockdown and shut down for so long. You think about the lives that were lost as a result because maybe they didn't get to doctor's visits. Maybe it was a mental health concern. Maybe it was a business that was shut down. I mean, there's a lot that he really drove during the pandemic that he should be answering questions.
Absolutely. And listen, that's why he's getting out when the getting out time is good, because I can assure you one of the primary goals that we're going to have when we take back the majority is oversight. Oversight through the Energy and Commerce Health Subcommittee, oversight through the Oversight Subcommittee of Energy and Commerce, as well as just the Oversight Committee itself. We are going to be looking at the origin of COVID. This is important. It's important for us to understand so that it does not get repeated. We need to know if this did, in fact, start in the Wuhan lab, as I believe it did, and I believe the evidence will show us that it did. And we need to see how we can avoid this in the future. Dr. Fauci has refused to admit that he's made mistakes, and we've all made mistakes. I mean, I wouldn't be so critical of him if he would just say, look, I made some mistakes along the way. But no, he's not willing to do that at all.
Yeah, and I think we need to also take a look back at his career. I mean, he's been bad on a number of issues over the years, and I think a lot of people forget how poorly he managed the AIDS crisis back in the 80s. I want you to take a listen to this response on AIDS transmission from a young Dr. Fauci.
Starting to see, as we're seeing virtually as the months go by, other groups that can be involved, and seeing it in children is really quite disturbing.
When you say other close contact, give me some examples.
Well, for example, if the close contact of a child is a household contact, perhaps there will be a certain number of cases of individuals who are just living with and in close contact with someone with AIDS or at risk of AIDS, who does not necessarily have to have intimate sexual contact or share a needle, but just the ordinary close contact that one sees.
Congressman, would you say that his past should factor into any investigation into him?
Absolutely. We need to understand that he's not willing to admit that he's made a mistake. Look, my dad taught me, son, that's why they put erasers on pencils. People make mistakes, and as time evolves, we understand things better. But this is a man who is not willing to admit that has happened. And certainly when you're talking about something as important as a pandemic, as important as COVID, and as important as us understanding the origin of it, understanding how we should deal with it in the future, then certainly we need to get the politics out of public health. And he has implemented politics, and he's turned more into a politician than a scientist. And that's why he needs to go. He needs to be gone yesterday.
Well, speaking of politics, you're hearing about, an uptick of more COVID cases now. You've got Fauci and then CDC Director Walensky. They're pushing for more vaccines. They're pushing for new boosters. When obviously the data shows that vaccines have very little effect against the newest variant. And, for a while now, it seemed like we see these endless boosters, these threats of reinstating COVID mandates. It seems like it's all about control. What are your thoughts?
No question about it. This is what the government wants. They want to control your health care. They want to control your life. And that's why they continue to push this way. Look, there's no question that natural immunity is the best immunity that you can have. Now, as you know, I went through the clinical trials myself. I wanted to set a good example, both as a healthcare professional and as a member of Congress. So I went through the clinical trials myself. And I believe in the vaccine. I believe it's important. However, to require these people to do that and to, especially children, when we know it doesn't impact children, this is ridiculous for the government to be entering into this fray.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, Congressman Buddy Carter, we've got to leave it there. But it's always great to see you. Always great to have you on the show. Thanks for taking time tonight.